I'd say there's a lot more harsher forms of discrimination.
I feel like it's kind of big because my sister, she's pretty short, like especially compared to me, and I know like people just they kind of belittle her a little bit.
I think that it's not as much of a problem in discrimination. I think that more discrimination comes towards like sexual orientation and also with race.
Well, I would say it's I wouldn't say it's necessarily discriminatory to a short person. Being that you can't necessarily control that as well, I think there's been short people all over the world that have done great things, just as many as tall people.
Honestly, no, seriously. I think there's other things that's like more important.
It's, I guess, relatively speaking, I think it can be pretty serious, but not. I would grade it like a 6 out of 10.
I got an interview for my dream job. It was at a big company I won't name, but it's a household name. I got the interview through a friend who works there who put in a good word for me with his boss. We'll call him Bob.
We spoke over the phone, and he seemed thrilled about taking me on. Said my resume was great, and even went to the same college I did. He made it sound like the job was mine. I was ecstatic about the opportunity and signed a lease in the city I would be moving to in preparation. There was only one step left.
Physical interview. Since it was in another city, I packed my bags and took a plane. I walked in the building feeling like I could conquer the world. I felt 7 foot tall until I met Bob. As soon as I walked in, I could tell things were different from when we spoke on the phone.
He looked uncomfortable. After some pleasantries, he said, "So you haven't made any commitments to moving here, have you?" I told him about the lease, and he said, "You should probably back out of that. I think we're going to go another direction with the position."
I knew what was going on. I understand, I said. It's nothing personal. It's just this job requires a lot of charisma, dealing with clients, taking them out for dinners, winning people over. I just don't think you have what it takes. I left the interview and cried in the bathroom of a local gas station.
I've dealt with being short my entire life, so I'm used to it, but sometimes there's just moments where it's unbearable.
That job was my dream, and I lost it because of something I have no control over. Because he wanted to go another direction. I know what direction he wanted to go.
Up.
I'm a proud father of a 12-year-old son. My son is nearly my height at 61 inches. He teases me about my height often, which is all in good fun.
I don't mind. However, recently our dynamic changed drastically, and now I think he's embarrassed of me. A friend of his from school was having a birthday party.
He invited most of the kids in his class, and since it was in a park, many of the parents were invited to stay and eat burgers while the kids played games. My son and I showed up and approached the crowd of kids. My son isn't very outgoing, so this is his first time the kids had seen me. They all began making fun of how short I am.
Openly, "Hey, I didn't know your dad was an Oompa Loompa," one of the kids said. I expected the parents to step in. Had they been making fun of a black man or disabled person or woman for the traits they couldn't help, I know they would have stepped in. Taught their children a lesson about manners, but they didn't.
Instead, they joined in. To my total disbelief, many of the parents began laughing, and a couple of them shouted their own insults. "I couldn't tell which of you was the son and which was the father," one said.
The kids and parents laughed and laughed. I was in shock. I couldn't believe how little respect they would show for me. I looked at my son. He had moved farther away from me into the crowd of kids. He was looking down at the ground, not making eye contact with me. I could see his little eyes watering, filling with tears.
I knew that he was ashamed of me. Ever since then, my son has asked my wife to drive him to school. The one time I had given him a ride, he asked me to drop him off down the street from school.
I know my son is embarrassed of his father.
And now I think I am too.
My wife and I have been together for 4 years, married for 8 months. Late last night, we were lying in bed post-sex, her head on my shoulder.
We were talking about kids, names and such. A few minutes of no talking. Then she says,
"With all the problems you've had with your height, maybe we should think about getting a sperm donor." I was completely shocked.
after a few seconds of silence, she said, "Sweet," and looks up at me. I closed my eyes instantly and pretend to be asleep. How could she ask me that? I've never even began to explain how much it hurts to. No, she doesn't think I'm good enough father for her children.
I lay awake all last night, unable to sleep. My opinions on that, I think it's super wrong. You shouldn't tell somebody they're not able to be, like, a father or mother just because of their height.
That's kind of sad. Definitely, I've been like one of the people who has been a part of height discrimination. I realize that. So it's definitely like an issue that I can see is like perpetuating, and I kind of feel bad.
That's very sad. It kind of adds to my belief that there is definitely height discrimination. The story's kind of ridiculous.
I feel like this is about the level that I could see it impacting, and I think it's very, it's serious because it costs people jobs, you know what I mean, and it's definitely something that is not, it shouldn't be happening, you know what I mean.
I just think there's other problems than just height, especially discrimination against like if it was a job for maybe a woman wouldn't even get a physical interview or something like that. That's just what I think.
You can definitely see how people of shorter statures could go through these kind of things, and I definitely don't think it's fair. And I guess today I can kind of think about more if I see somebody that's maybe shorter than me, maybe taller than me too, what they're going through on that day, and just take that into consideration going forward.